So I was in the Army, and I went to a place called Uijeongbu, South Korea. And one night I go to bed and everything's just fine. In fact, I felt really tired the day before, so I went to bed early. Woke up at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it felt like somebody was just taking these heavy punches to my stomach and thigh area. I thought maybe I had to go to the bathroom, so I got up and hobbled is the best term, to the bathroom and stood in front of the urinal for a couple of minutes. Nothing happened, and so I headed back to my bunk, laid down, and I tried to get back to sleep, and started to feel like somebody was stabbing me now. Just this really searing pain, and I didn't know what was causing it. I didn't want to get up and just, think that I'm in this horrible pain and end up having gas. I don't want to look like an idiot. So I stay in my bunk, and I'm just pouring sweat. I get up the next morning, when the alarm clock goes off, roll out of the bed, hadn't slept very much, and went to formation. Got dressed, went to formation, and I'm standing down there, and I lean over I was the assistant section chief, so I leaned over to the section chief, and I says, "Hey, Sergeant, I'm in a lot of pain." He says, "Well, you got to go to the bathroom?" I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "You take a shit." "No, Sergeant, let's go on the run. Let's go." At this point in time, the pain is just, I'm sweating. I'm in fresh PT uniform, and I've got the dark. I don't sweat that hard ever. The whole time I was in Korea, I never sweat as hard as I did that day. So we haven't even started running yet, and they put me in front of the formation, and I turned to the first sergeant. First sergeant, I don't think I can go on this run today. I'm in a lot of pain. "Well, what kind of pain, Huxhold?" "Stomach pain, right down in my genitals." He says, "Take a shit?" "No, first sergeant, let's go on the run." So we start running, and we head out to the rice paddies. I can't keep up. I'm a pretty good runner, but I can't keep up today. Kept falling out, and platoon or unit would go on ahead of me, turn around, come pick me back up. We'd continue running. I never stopped jogging. I never stopped moving. I didn't walk at all. They continued on this for 6 miles, out to the hangman's tree and back again. As this pain in my stomach was getting worse, they finally forget about him. The Humvee will pick him up. The Humvee never got to me. We got to right in front of post, and I ran like my feet were on fire. Past the formation, past everyone there, straight to the TMC, and I walk in there, and we called the guy Green Mile. It was this NCO, just big, huge guy. Just he looked like Michael Clark Duncan off of Green Mile. Just that big of a guy. And he walked in there, and "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I got stomach pain really bad. Can't go to the bathroom. Just I'm in a lot of pain. Why don't you lay down on the bed over there?" Comes over and starts pushing on my stomach with his kielbasa-sized fingers, just pushing on me, and I'm crying out, screaming, hollering, because it hurt like hell. He goes and gets the officer, and the officer comes in. He checks my temperature, and my temperature's through the roof. I'm going at 102. And he says, he says, "Did you just come off of PT?" And I said, "Yeah, I just came off PT." He says, "Okay, we'll take your temperature again once you've had an opportunity to cool down. In the meantime, let's get you some x-rays. You need to walk down to the TMZ, or the TMC, not TMZ." It is 8:30 in the morning in Korea. The sun has been up for an hour. It's hotter than hell. It's not as hot as Phoenix, but if Phoenix and Seattle were in the same place, that's how hot Korea is. That's what Korea is like. So I walk the quarter of a mile down, get my x-ray taken, walked in there, just the air conditioner. It's got the best air conditioning on post. Walked in there, they laid me down, took some x-rays, got a phone call, stuck me with an IV, took blood, and found out my white blood cell count was through the roof. I was fighting something. They didn't know if it was bacterial or virus. They didn't know what it was. I was having severe stomach pain in my abdomen. After the x-rays came back, it was my appendix. And it was big. It was huge. They don't know why it didn't explode. Or that's what they told me. They put me on an ambulance and drove me from Uijeongbu to Yongsan, which is just outside of Seoul. Those are some of the bumpiest damn roads I've ever been on in my life. Potholes the size of Volkswagens. It was horrible. It hurt so bad every turn. And Koreans, God bless them, they can drive. But there's a reason they can drive. They have to. It's crazy over there. So they get me to the hospital and they put me in one of the beds. And I'm thinking, because I worked in America, I did volunteer firefighting at one point in time, and the hospital I worked at had their beds numbered a certain way, and so I was going off of what I previously knew, and when they said bed number 3, I thought I was in bed number 1, and ended up getting... They checked my temperature all right, but they also checked my oil, and I was a quart low. So I move on. Sorry. I get to go upstairs at this point in time and get ready to head on in. And my mom, she passed away after getting her appendix taken out. So what's going through my mind is this the last thought process I'm going to have and go in here and I'm not going to wake up? Is it going to happen again? And I'm freaking out. So I ask for a Mormon chaplain. They come back about half an hour later and they said, "We can't find one. We need to move you into surgery." And I says, "Can you get me a Christian chaplain?" Because I was Christian at this point in time. And they said, we've got to get you moved in there now. We don't have time to find a chaplain. And I said, "You don't understand. Just get me a damn chaplain." And they wouldn't. They couldn't. They had to move me into surgery. So as they're wheeling me in there, I thought, okay, this is how it's going to be. And I says, I have to tell you guys something very important about me. And the doctor and nurse says, okay. And I says, there was a building on the 28th floor. By this point in time, the drugs are kicking in, and I start telling this long-winded Superman joke. As I doze off and fall asleep, that's the last thing I remember, and I was prepared not to wake up. I woke up the next morning, or not the next morning, a couple hours later. And the first words out of my mouth was, "Damn it, Superman, you're a prick when you're drunk." And the nurse sitting next to me, he says, "Excuse me?" And I says, "Oh, I'm alive." He says, "Yeah, you're good." I says, okay, can I see the scar? He says, no, no, don't look. And I fell back asleep. I woke up and I had a TV in my room. All to myself. I didn't have to share it with anybody. It was all mine. Um, my NCOs came in and they checked on me throughout the day, and then one of my officers in civilian clothes. They were nice enough to dress up in civilian clothes, and you don't really get to see your officers dressed up in civilian clothes all that often. And when I saw him with his Texas Tech or the Longhorns or whoever it is hat on, and a button-up shirt all westernified and boots and everything, I was like, holy shit. So they put me on a van that afternoon. They checked me out. I was good to go. I couldn't work out. I couldn't do PT. I couldn't do anything for 3 weeks. And then on the 4th week, I could do light duty, which the only thing they would let me do was CQ and battalion staff duty. That was all they would let me do for another 2 weeks. No PT still. It took a long time to rehab that injury. I've got a pretty nifty little scar there that'll never go away. But yeah, that's the kind of person I guess I am. Is you know, my body won't keep up with me sometimes. I end up hurting myself because I think I'm kind of invincible. So just this is just who I am. I'll make more videos, maybe introduce you to my kids, and I don't think it'll ever happen, but maybe my wife someday. Stay tuned. I've got, you know, a big family and a really lot of interesting things happening with, you know, my wrestling and my family and school, so we'll be shooting a lot more footage of that. Can't say that this will be a regular thing, but I'll do it as regular as I can. Alright, guys, have a good night.